कप्तान तैयार हैं, आप भी हो जाइए तैयार। टॉस का समय हो गया है और कप्तान अंपायर मैदान पर। हेड्स इज द कॉल एंड हेड्स इट इज। बैटिंग फर्स्ट, बढ़िया एडवांटेज है, बड़े स्कोर में तब्दील करना चाहेंगे इस एडवांटेज को। मैच शुरू होने वाला है, प्लेयर्स तैयार हो रहे हैं, तो फिर आप और मैं भी हो जाए तैयार, क्योंकि आज होगा एक कड़ा मुकाबला। अंदाज अच्छा तो अंजाम अच्छा। आज उम्मीद यही है कि सलामी जोड़ी करेंगे अच्छे तरीके से आगाज।
It's only league 26 runs in 4 overs. Bit unique. Nice high release. Actually swings the ball into right-handers. And Jason Roy wasn't too bad in the last game against the Scorchers, but just another one of these top-order batsmen that hasn't gone on to get a 60 or a 70 to set a real platform for the Sixers.
See his hot zone on the leg side, but that shadow, Kevin Peterson, is that difficult as a batsman or not?
Look, when you're batting and it's in the sun, it's actually okay. But when you're in the, the bowler's bowling and he's in the sun, it's okay. But when the bowler's bowling from the shadow and you're in the sun, then it's a bit of a problem. It's a beautiful shot that from Jason Roy. He says he's in good form. He's hitting the ball really nicely. He's just managing to find silly little modes of dismissals. I thought in Perth he got a dismissal that probably wasn't working in his favour. But look in here now, Richardson will be running in, he'll be running in the sun. He'll have the ball in the sun, and yes, it'll come through into the shadows. I think the only little bit of off-put there would be his shadow is actually quite visible when he stands tall in his crease. Richardson won't be worried about that. Finch won't be worried about that. You can see that.
Good crowd, boys.
Beautiful, isn't it?
Just 21,000 already, real buzz.
Out one fine on the offside and one out at square leg, which is a pretty short boundary too.
Well, you're right, Howie. I think it's the 51, it was the 51-metre boundary that got hit to. So it's going to be hard to defend these shorter boundaries later on the Harvey Norman pitch or wicket dimensions, ground dimensions.
Ablett Terrace.
We could see some big sixes.
I'll ask you a few questions about Gary Ablett in a moment, Kev. Have you ever heard of Gary Ablett Senior or Junior?
I've heard the name, Howie. I can't lie on national and international television and say that I know a lot about Gary Ablett, but I've heard the name.
Look up his highlights on YouTube.
There's 2 of them.
Okay.
I'll explain further in a moment as third man comes up towards the circle. Roy's on strike. He just punches in the offside. Gary Ablett Senior was a very famous footballer for the Geelong Footy Club down here, Kev. He was a superstar, spectacular. He was a bit the Kevin Peterson of football. He was a bit of a showman, liked to entertain, controversial at times. And then his son.
I think KP's got him in a media aspect.
Yeah,
though.
probably.
Gary Ablett Senior, we didn't hear a lot from him.
No, we didn't. He was a reluctant media performer. Then his son came into the game and everyone's like, oh, how difficult is this going to be? And he's arguably become as good, if not better, than his father.
Wow.
Roy hits it hard. Oh, brilliant catch!
Aaron Finch.
The local hero with one hand and then doubled it up. What about that?
That was Ablett-like. A specky from the captain, and it was hit very, very hard there from Roy. Got the
Asked the umpire whether I was out or not when it hit my stumps. And he said, are you serious?
Oh, so you were out?
Oh, I was out, yeah. Knocked my helmet off my head, landed on my stumps, out for 70 in a test match at Old Trafford, and I turned to square leg umpire and I said, am I out? He said, are you serious?
And were you advancing, or did it just do
it was just a bumper. It was a good regulation bumper. And you talk about the short ball, he's got a very good short ball. So no, I won't be running at him. That is for sure. Learnt my lesson very quick. I think I was advancing to drive there. Hit wicket. How's that? You play test match cricket. About my 50th or 60th test match. Am I out?
Yes.
Yep.
Silk jams it down to third man. So a dominant start by the Renegades in G-Town after 4, 2 for 12.
No, I've never had my helmet dislodged from my head before and knocked it onto the stumps.
Sure, DJ would have explained to you that you were out. Punch straight back down.
I tell you what should have told me was Bravo was all flying. He was right next to the dressing room, flying in front of the Old Trafford dressing rooms.
Flem, this is a very impressive start by the home side in red.
It is, and they've mixed it up. Nabby bowled a couple of overs. He's done a good job, but there's a bit of variety even in their right arm quicks, isn't there? Like Bravo mixes up a lot. Richardson, a tall man, high release, moves the ball in mainly to right-hand batsmen. So they've got some natural variation in this tack. They've still got Wildermuth to bowl. Tommy Coop often bowls an over. I don't think he will tonight. He often bowls the first over the power play.
Silk pulls hard, but
yeah, we haven't been playing well at all. We've been putting one half of the game together, but you got to put two halves together here in the Big Bash. I mean, it's so competitive, and you have to play well. And if you're not playing well, you're going to get found out. But that's not saying that we're out of this competition by any stretch of the imagination. We've been 3-3 before, and you look at the Australians far away. We just get that right, and we get ourselves sorted. We get playing good cricket again, and we stick to the basics. We'll be okay. But Saturday night is a monster at the MCG, an absolute monster. Yeah,
and were you surprised the Australian selectors went with Chris Lynn? It's, obviously, we know about his power and all that, but what about how resilient it is? Do you think that he can get through one-day cricket?
Well, that's the only concern for me. I saw him fielding yesterday at 45, and he can't dive,
he's
he
not
can't
fully
throw,
striding,
he can't run. So, yeah, strange. But hey, you bat like that for him, I tell you what, you don't need to run. You just park him off at first slip, you stand him at 45, and you just let him bomb sixes out of the ground.
No, he's an amazing talent, but I am surprised, Howie, that they haven't given him more games to prove his fitness, as we see the Australian squad here. Chris Lynn, that there's T20s at the end of the one-day series. I would have thought that was a better time to get Chris Lynn back in the Australian colours. Mitchell Marsh is back after that shoulder injury. What about Tim Payne? It's almost the story of the summer, isn't it? That he almost took a job at Kookaburra Sports, and now he's keeping for Australia in, I think, all three forms. I think he'll play the T20s as well. End of the fifth over, it's 2 for 50.
Silk's on strike. Going tough for the men in pink at the moment. Worked away on the onside for a single. Kev, I'm still interested about a defeat in a T20 game. You guys play all around the world. What happens immediately after the game? Does Stephen Fleming address you? How's the mood in the rooms directly after a game where you got absolutely belted like you did last night?
Oh, last night is just one of those games where you just throw it away and you just forget about it. And you talk about it when emotions are not running high. So you just leave it alone and you talk about it. Tomorrow we got a training session and you maybe go over a few things tomorrow and say, well, where can we improve? What did we do right? I think when you get belted like that, there are frustrations. There's people in one corner angry. There's another bloke who's sitting there going, well, how do I sort myself out? So actually a good coach, and what I think Stephen Fleming as a super coach does, is he pulls us all together and he says to us, guys, do whatever you were going to do tomorrow, whether you won, whether you lost, and we'll revisit it when we're not as emotional on Thursday. And that's exactly what he's done, and I think that's the best way to deal with it. I think the emotional coaches, the ones that shout, scream, carry on, I'm afraid to say they're the interesting ones, and they're the ones that you shout and scream too much, it falls on deaf ears. But what he did last night, we'll talk about it tomorrow. It is what it is. You lost a game of cricket. You're not going to change the result by swearing at each other.
A few AFL coaches probably haven't taken that lead, to be honest, Flem.
Yeah, I can think of a few names over the years.
Shout as loud as you can. The more you get beat by, the more you shout. Maddinson on strike, advances.
But I think it was in cricket as well. When you look at the 70s and 80s and 90s, that was what coaches thought they had to do. Motivation was by yelling a lot.
Yeah, but I stand to be corrected. On occasions, I think players need a rev.
Yeah.
Because some players can be very lethargic and they can actually be sitting there just going through the motions. So occasionally you need to stand there and say, listen, mate, you need to get your act together or else you'll be somewhere else. And if you're going on a different train, you go on that train, this train's going in this direction. But if you do it too much, it falls on deaf ears.
And often smart coaches will target players that they know can take the spray.
Yeah.
So the other teammates, a bit of fear. They're going, wow, but he knows that player is strong and can handle it.
Brad Hodges mic'd up. Good evening, Hodgie.
Yes, good day, Howie.
Great to speak to you. This is some start by the men in red in G-Town.
That's good, isn't it? This is a home ground advantage for you. So
yes,
it's look, the stadium looks amazing. The wicket's good. and an amazing start for us. We've really put the clamps on here, and in what's an important power play.
Silk working it away to the leg side.
Hodgie, does this actually feel like a home game for you guys?
Anywhere across the Yarra River is not a home game, KP. Got to go through passport control once you go over the bridge.
Oh, please. Come on, Hodgie.
I'm only joking. This is a great part of the world. Lots of people come down here to the coast. This is a time and place to be down here, and hence the crowd. It's similar to dropping wickets. Conditions are actually pretty close to what we've been playing on.
Thanks, Brad. Speak to him throughout the night. Just can't beat the field at the moment. There's only been one boundary for the entire innings. At the end of the power play, the Sixers are 2 for 20.
Along to recover, and surgery is needed when the joint becomes unstable due to the injury, so we wish him the best of luck with that. But Daniel Hughes, the opener, he is expected back for the next match against the Hurricanes as he continues his recovery from a quad strain. Howie.
Thank you, Dr. Kelly. Wow, syndesmosis of the ankle. Silk as Hogg comes into the attack.
Nice hug.
You talk about the numbers here, 2 for 20 off the first 6 overs. I think when you've got a drop-in wicket like we've got here, the square, there isn't a square. So as soon as you hit the ball into the deck, the thickness of the grass actually stops the ball. So we have seen a couple of cover drives that have been stopped on the ring, and that's because the square hasn't allowed the ball to accelerate, and therefore the preferred option would probably be the option that Jason Roy took, albeit he just didn't connect well enough. The wicket seems good enough for it, but you hit the ball straight into the wicket on a square where it has 3 or 4 wickets next to each other, it goes for 4.
Madison a real key now. They need a big knock from the talented New South Welshman. I'm asking you how you pick the slower balls. The Brad Hogg wrong'un, which has confounded batsmen around the world for the last 78 years. How do you pick that one, Kev?
You're looking in the air, and you're looking at release points, Howie. You're looking as soon as he's released the ball, but there's different variations of it. There's variations on picking it off the wicket. I think that's too late because you've got to have committed. You don't have enough time. But I have a look at it out of the hand, and the left arm leg spinner, I think the variances in the way that he really has to sort of get over his left shoulder, that gives you a hell of a good sign as to how you're going to be picking the ball. He really has to come over to bowl his googly, whereas you're seeing the ball a hell of a lot when he's bowling his genuine left arm leg spin. So that sort of gives it away.
It's tossed up. And
The other tough thing, I reckon, for the batsmen in the Big Bash at the moment, KP, is how quick the leg spinners are bowling.
Yeah,
so you don't have time to read them off the pitch.
Yeah, exactly right. And all they have to do is spin one, and then a bowler or knows that he's on top of you, especially if you're spinning the ball both ways. But yeah, it's nice. It's just nice to see spinners in the game. It really is. And it's so hard to line a bloke like Hogg up because you know that he's got a ball that can spin past you, and he's got that big leg spinner that he can spin as well. So
exactly,
as a captain, it's so good to be able to have those guys in your team.
And another ball that we haven't seen for a long time, Mitch Swepson, the flipper. You know what the great Shane Warne perfected, didn't he, against guys like Daryl Cullinan and against England? But you're talking about the spin both ways. Well, then you've got the zip off the pitch.
Yeah.
It was great to see the young fella bowling the flipper.
5 singles off
years ago in LA.
Did you?
With Mervyn Hughes.
Still gives himself room. Finally, a ball races away towards the boundary. It's been a long time. We've only seen one for the entire evening prior to that. 229.
You don't see Nabby bowl too many of those deliveries, do you? He generally, to the right-handers, he's bowling length to middle and just swinging away a little bit, but that was hit me, which Silk did. Now he's 14 off 15 deliveries. Just giving himself a bit of width too.
There's 24 balls since the last boundary prior to that. A bit more width again, and this time out to the sweep. What were you doing playing cricket in Los Angeles with Big Mervyn?
So it was actually on Anzac Day, and there was from the Australian Commission over there, let's play a cricket game. We were playing a World 11. Colin Miller, remember Funky Miller? The left arm, he lives in Las Vegas these days, Funky.
Of course he does.
Really? Where else was he going to live? And so we went there. I thought we were playing on a baseball field. There was 5 cricket fields, actually full. And we had the social game going, so it was amazing that you think about cricket in America is not that big. Well, there was 5 turf ovals next to each other.
Pushed into the offside. I remember checking into a hotel with Colin Funky Miller when Channel 10 had the beach cricket many a year ago. They said, "Oh, can we have your credit card, sir?" And he said, "No, I don't have
No
one."
credit card.
And the whole hotel system shut down because Funky didn't have a credit card. They said, "Well, how are you going to leave a deposit?" And he's like, "Well, that's your problem, not mine. I don't have a credit card." So it's worked away on the onside.
And for those who don't remember Colin Funky Miller, just YouTube his blue hair against the West Indies in a Sydney Test one day.
Nothing wrong with blue hair, Flem.
Or a skunk. Either will do.
We'll make
Actually, that would be a good battle, the haircuts between you and Funky Miller over the years.
I think he got me. 2 for 31 off 7.4. Doesn't look real, does it, in a T20 game? Really doesn't look real. Here's the president of Afghanistan. Good playing. Not committing his feet and hitting it out there. Not a bad over at the moment. 7 runs so far.
Just doesn't leak too many runs. He knows exactly what he's doing. Very experienced.
Yes, clever.
86 one-dayers for Afghanistan, 58 T20 games.
Incredible finish in the Women's Big Bash League here, Ros. This you have to see to believe.
An absolute thriller, Howie. It was a super over thriller on this very ground, in fact, and we're just having a look at the WBBL standings first. Looks very different to the men's competition as well. The Thunder and the Sixers currently leading the way, but today was an absolutely exciting finish. The Sixers, they were chasing, and they needed 3 to win or 2 to draw off the final ball. The Renegades, they thought they restricted them to a single, and in the Inglis, the keeper, she started celebrating, but the Sixers, they snuck through and forced a super over, and the umpire, they deemed the ball was still live, and but the Renegades, they did win in the super over, so they weren't made to pay entirely, Howie.
Thanks, Ros. That is YouTube gold.
Emma Inglis is very experienced too. She would have been so happy they got home.
Pulled away hard, but again, all the balls are going to the fielders at the moment.
Tell you what, I was bemused. I was sat up here going, am I actually seeing something here that is... I could not believe it.
What I like...
I can't believe how they ran the second.
What I like, Capo, you were up here actually commentating. You were already practicing the commentator. Geez, you're a professional.
I couldn't believe it. I was shouting and screaming.
Hard. He was halfway in between chipping and going big, and Cam White, he's a big man. He's got big mitts. He's not going to miss that one. Just a little bit of a mini specky on the forward pocket here at Cardinia Park. Hoggy gets his first wicket. Silk has to go for 16.
8 from 10 and 33 from 21. An extraordinary array of funky shots this man's got, and he's going to need all of them tonight. Is there something we're not understanding, Kev, about the wicket or something, or the Renegades being good, the Sixers poor? What's happening?
Well, you get into situations like this in T20 cricket. I've been in an RPL where you've lost 12 on the trot, and when you lose your focus and you're really worried about what you're doing and your shot selection.
Lions roaring in the morning sun, searching for a longer day. People feeling like the light has just come. We must never stop the way, yeah. Birds jumping and I hear my name, grasping into a life. Life is happy but it's so insane.
We must catch. Oh, that's a catch. That's up here. He will not drop that. No, he won't. Look at the old timer sprinting down now to the other old timer. Hoggy, his tongue's out.
Hard. He was halfway in between chipping and going big, and Cam White, he's a big man. He's got big mitts. He's not going to miss that one. Just a little bit of a mini specky on the forward pocket here at Cardinia Park. Hoggy gets his first wicket. Silk has to go for 16, and the Sixers in trouble. 3 for 34.
Direction so quick because of the decisions you have to make have to be ball to ball to ball to ball. You don't have half an hour to get yourself in. You need to make quick decisions, and in T20 cricket it happens so fast. When you lose in, you make bad decisions.
Oh, to Madison and short. Even that is not timed exceptionally well by Maddinson.
That might have been a flipper attempt from Bradley Hogg there. Hey, KP, so how do you reset yourself then? Because you could see Jordan Silk, he was second-guessing himself with that sort of shot. It wasn't defence, it wasn't overly attacking, and you're out.
And that shot there of Maddinson, I mean, if the Sixers are on fire here, he is hitting that ball to a 51-metre boundary.
Yep.
He's hitting it 100 metres, but he's a bit apprehensive to get out. They're 3 for 30 after 8.4 overs. That's another ball there. That ball's short. Stand back, hit that into the stands. International cricket, professional sport, it's a mental game, and that's why I'm not going to sit up here and criticise the Sixers at all, because you can get into situations in professional sport where split-second decisions at certain times of your career, you make bad judgments.
Well, I'm interested to see Sam Billings. It looks like they're going to attack here, slip in place mid-off, coming in as well. We have seen him play some real innovative strokes in the Big Bash. It's a tough one. You want to reset a little bit, but your run rate's very, very minimal at the moment.
That's where the game is so fast. It's happening at such a pace. They're already into the 9th over. You're halfway through, 3 for 37. He's the overseas player. That adds more weight onto his shoulders.
They're in a bear market. They're in a recession runs-wise. And it continues. Hogg still at his peak here. 2 overs, 1 for 9. And after the 9th over, it's 3 for 37.
Cricket.com.au, all girls cricket leagues are springing up all around the country for girls between 11 and 17. Wonderful team sport. Visit playcricket.com.au to find out more. I know there's a very, very keen punches into the offside. Wildermuth continues.
No, certainly. My daughter Jasmine got involved when she was probably about 9. You know, she's 13 now and enjoying her cricket. So if your daughter's out there and enjoying playing backyard cricket, they're ready to play T20 Blast or something like that. So go to the website and make sure if the girls are keen, go and let them play.
Understand the effect that you have, but the kids that look up to you guys, my young fella who's here tonight, Mackie, he's in the front yard the whole time, or as he calls himself, the big penguin, and he hits a shot and he's straight away, he's like, would KP be happy with that shot? Would KP be happy with that shot? Then he comes and meets you today and you're like, g'day Macco, and he's just like...
How old is he, Howie?
Just turned 6.
He just turned 6, little man.
Yeah, and
How cool is he? Well, first question, how are you going? Everything good? What are you doing? How's your summer holiday? Surfing.
Yeah.
Surfing. Straight at dad, really?
Yeah.
He did say he's playing a lot of cricket, though.
He did. But
what a cutie.
He was silent early doors, but he's always would Kev be happy with that. Or does Finchy play a shot like that as Billings faces Wildermuth?
Ooh, that's a good delivery.
And I think the thing about this competition is you guys are much more accessible than when we see you in the Test cricket arena, which, as you mentioned, you're going up to Albury and just so many smiling faces and kids and looking up and actually being able to meet their heroes. I think it's absolutely
and you sign
brilliant.
after the game.
And last night, last night after the game, we went downstairs, took the backpack off, straight back upstairs, and for 10 or 15 minutes, I mean, the youngsters, they don't, and I remember when I was a kid, I didn't care about the result. Yes, it was like, okay, but if I got to meet my heroes, the Jonty Rhodes or the Sean Paul, whatever, and you get to touch them and you get to get their autograph, I mean, it's the selfie now that is the big thing.
Kev, or that you got, Flem, that was special in your early childhood?
Well, just to say, I'm a bit older than KP. You just didn't meet your heroes. You didn't get the opportunity to get autographs. So I can't remember.
You get down the grounds in 4-day games or...
No, not for Test match cricket. My first day was when Dennis Lilly, my idol, broke the most Test wickets in history. He beat Lance Gibbs, but you weren't rocking down to Fine League and getting autographs or after the day's play. So
they wouldn't sign on the boundary?
I think I was too scared to go down there.
Billings works away on the onside. What about you, Kev? Was there an autograph or someone that you looked up to as a young fellow?
Well, Hansi Cronje was my hero, so I was lucky enough to play against him and also spend a little bit of time with him. But yeah, growing up, he was my hero. And Alan Donald, White Lightning. I mean, I used to play in the backyard. Talk about backyard cricket. I used to paint my face all different colours. I think that's where my hair came from. The stupid stuff that I was wearing on my face as a youngster.
And
transferred it through to my hair.
And what happened to you? You're 6'4", you're built like a centre-half back, and you bowled off spin. Why didn't you bowl quick?
I didn't bowl off spin for long, Flem. I stopped that nonsense, especially in T20 cricket.
Final ball of the over. Runs very hard to come by for the Sixers. At the halfway mark, they're 3 for 40.
They're trying to protect that short boundary at long on. There's a mid-wicket on the fence as well.
29 dots already and just 60 legal deliveries. It's worked away on the onside.
Well, to that boundary side, it's going to be either a single or a boundary. There's no 2s or 3s out there.
If that was you in the crowd, and it looked a lot like the big man beside me, we want to get your name, especially when you take a catch as easy as that. Send us an email, crowdcatch@network10.com.au. There's a bit of you in that, Kev, isn't it?
Well, there is in the shirt, yeah. The old check number, but big point of difference, he caught it. Not sure I would have caught it watching a game of cricket, Howie.
You've taken some decent ones for the Melbourne Stars.
Not watching.
Brad Hodge is mic'd up. Hodgie, who was your hero growing up?
I loved Ellen Border. AB and Dean Jones were probably the two people, one for Test
Punches
cricket.
it down the ground. This is an extraordinary performance, Hodge. You've played a lot of T20 cricket all around the world. You wouldn't see many at the halfway mark on a decent deck at 3 for 40.
No, look, I think a lot of credit goes to the captaincy, Finchy, and the planning that we've put into, and bringing Bravo on in the third over for match up to Jason Roy was a really good planned move, and that works. But yeah, things are going well
something
for
here.
us.
Is the wicket as good as we say it is, or is the wicket not as good?
No, it looks fantastic.
Yeah, I know it looks fantastic, but
look, I think it's pretty good. I just think they may be playing with a fraction of a negative mindset.
Yeah.
Having a look at the wicket first, and then see if we'll bowl some loose balls. But we actually haven't bowled some loose balls, so they haven't been able to capitalise on any width. Which, a dropping wicket, if you bowl any width, it generally means a boundary. So we've tried to target the stumps as much as we can, and it's had positive results. And just to clarify too, Howie, on the passport thing, it's just a little joke between the coach Andrew McDonald, who lives down here, and he reckons none of us crossed the bridge to come and say hello to him.
No, you've alienated Geelong, Hodgie. There's no need to go back on it now. He played cricket down there.
He did. Well, there's more people. Well, Finchy's from Colac. Ludi lives in Geelong.
I remember when Brad.
Operation Dragback.
He used to be a man of the people.
Oh, shit. Now, Hodgie, I remember you talking about how you took a big grab at Melbourne football training over the late, great Jimmy Steins in your heyday. But what about Finchy's catch?
Unbelievable.
How high did he get?
Well, it looked like the chewy was stuck on the bottom of his boots a little bit, didn't it? He's one for the crowd, isn't he? It was an amazing catch. And that's good leadership, isn't it? The skipper grabbing hold of an important wicket. Bowlers are bowling well.
We're getting a vision of it now, Hodgie.
Yeah. Look at that. It's amazing.
Billings 2 from just 5 deliveries.
Flight, and it's cost him a boundary.
Hodgie, eventually when you finish your cricket career, I think personally as this one gets fine to the fence, there's an opportunity for you in commentary, so I might just be quiet and leave it up to you for the next delivery. You can set it up for us and away you go, big man.
Sure. Well, it's a welcome boundary for Sydney Sixers. Pretty unlucky there, Rob, actually. His execution in this whole big bash has been outstanding.
Keep going, mate.
A little bit more.
Oh, he's been great actually. He spoke in a team meeting the other day, which is a rare find. And his leadership's great. When he comes and expresses himself like that, it's awesome. People listen, and he's such a tremendous performer. And we know that he's the performer in front of a crowd, the entertainer, the champion. And once he's up and about, he's hard to stop. We love him.
Thanks, Hodgie. 3 for 48 from 11. Going. Great having Kevin Peterson alongside Damien Fleming tonight in Geelong. Wildermuth, 2 overs, 5 dots, none for 8.
KP, what are they saying? They've got 7 wickets in hand. Is it getting close to that stage where you're just going, one of them has to go?
Absolutely right. I just think that you've got to throw caution to the wind here, and you just have to go now. You're going down at the moment the way you're playing. Oh, no hand. That would have been stiff. That would have really been stiff. But yeah, I just think that it is a case of having a go now. It really is. What they're doing at the moment isn't working. 3 for 49 off 11 overs. That's no good. As Hodgie said, if Hodgie's right, this wicket's good. It's a very, very good cricket wicket. They have bowled well. Yes, they have. They're going to have to get a big score. There's only one way to get a big score, Flem. That's to start whacking them at the ground.
Yeah. I said there's some very short boundaries here. Geelong. Short ball hit well. Should be covered. They'll pick up 2. Marcus Harris there on the fence. Looks like the actual stock balls have come through okay.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes on the slower pitches they just sit up and get hit.
It's just that first bounce again there now. That pull shot that he's just played out there. The first bounce, as it landed on the turf, it sort of stopped.
Yeah.
It's that tennis ball stop. It's not what you normally see.
It's not
like
the
at the Wacker or the MCG last night. As soon as he hit it, it hits the deck.
Well, it must be a decent pitch for Wildermuth to back up another bouncer. He feels like it's coming through, and that could have gone to gully. Would have been out.
Could have gone to gully, but Sam Bealins is really committed here on the front foot, isn't he? We saw him against Bravo in the previous over. He sort of walked at his first one, bowled a bouncer and was a wide. He walked at his next one, almost got done by the slower ball, but he's really committed on that front foot. When you commit yourself so far on your front foot, you don't tend to play the short ball as well. So clever bowling from Wildermuth.
We saw one of your teammates last night, Kevin Peterson, big Johnny Hastings, who is a big, strong lump of a man. And he was hit hard last night by cutting, and it takes a bit to rock the big Duke. I presume everything was all okay after the game.
Yeah, he was fine after the game. He led us in the field, and I did see him doing the concussion test, which is compulsory now, I think, in professional sport around the world, which I think is absolutely brilliant. You've got to match up the same numbers after a head strike as, or up to 90, I think it's 90 to 100% after you've had a head strike as, to what you matched up before the tournament. So I think he's okay.
I'd actually kick the ball away. So I thought straight away, I mean, it's not a concussion test, but it says to me that he must have been clear enough to think that. Did he say much about the helmet? The strip seemed to break really quickly.
Yeah, I think it just broke at the clip. It hit him heck of a hard though. Goodness, it hit him hard. It was a cross-seam delivery.
The reception from R.T. Ponting when he'd walk on or off the ground in Launceston was something.
We played in those Ponting charity days. Isn't it? Like, how massive is he?
Well, that was the day that Ricky was out 9 times and still managed to get to 50. George Bailey was the umpire that day.
The Hawthorn boys, Cam Bruce and Isaac Smith, I think, picked him up twice each.
Raising money for the Ponting Foundation. Rick and Rihanna do a wonderful job helping young kids and their families who are battling a bit. Billings faces Hogg. 2 overs, 1 for 9.
Dwayne Bravo, is there anything he can't do? 3-dimensional player. Wow, there you go.
Tell you what, running on the side of a drop-in, it's so thick. I've been talking about it, about the ball as you hit it, how it stops because there's no square on the side of that wicket. You have a look at his bat shot, that's going to stop right next to the wicket. You've got to run, and you've got to run on the wicket. You've got to drag your bat on the fastest or the hardest part right next to the ground.
That will be the end of Nick Maddinson. Goes from bad to worse. 4 for 56 off just 12.1 overs. Sean Abbott comes to the crease far earlier than he would like. He joins Billings. Hogg 2.1 overs, 5 dots, 1 for 9. He tongues out, he's smiling.
It is remarkable what Hoggy just continues to do, doesn't it? I mean, he had a fine Australian one-day career, World Cup winner, retired, and then come back into the Big Bash. And you just remember at the Wacker, the chance of Hoggy everywhere. Now he's made the move to the Renegades and still getting wickets, economical. Just so much enthusiasm for the game.
Question without notice, Flynn, which is always risky on live television. They call it Chinaman bowling. Any idea why?
Yeah, I did match between England and West Indies,
right.
And I can't remember the batsman, but Elvis Achong was the West Indian leg break bowler who was from Chinese descent, and he bowled it. It spun past the bat, and the umpire, as the batsman dismissed, was walking past.
Very close. You hardly ever see that, don't you? You drag your left foot back.
It's the wrong one.
Right out.
Like the delivery, the wrong one. Ludeman, very good. He just had to reach, wasn't it? If he was a little bit closer. think his foot's down.
His foot's down. Safe as houses. Not out.
So that was it, Howie. The great late Richie Beno explained it to me, and then it was coined from then on.
Nice
Elvis
work,
Achong, West India.
Nice work. Didn't ask you, Kev. You didn't know when the stumps were hit by your helmet that you were out, so I wasn't going to go down that path with you. Billy's advances.
Leave me right out of that. Thanks, Howie.
Flem's a fountain of all sorts of knowledge.
Lions roaring in the morning sun, searching for a longer day. People feeling like